Well, back again. And looky at me, I forgot a slide with 5.3. Guess I was so anxious to get back to the beach and the beautiful weather and the water that I forgot to talk about the informal power of communication. But here it is, the bully pulpit. All right, so as I talked about, if you listen to the vocab discussion, we're talking about the president's ability, especially in this day and age since World War II, how our world has changed so much from the discussions of FDR and people, getting around the radio and listening to what he was talking about with the Great Depression and World War II to now the social media presence and all the other things that goes around with presidents and the media today. But the essence of it is the same. What we've seen in this roughly 80 plus years is that when presidents speak, the world listens. And presidents sort of drown out, other news stories, other things going on when presidents talk. It's like all the news gives, minutes of the day. If our president says something or is somewhere or does something, I mean, they're going to give time to the president and what's going on with them, right? Even pushing out, other issues and things going on, all right? So you can see how presidents command the media. You can see, and I think whether you like him or whether you hate him, I think that President Donald Trump does a really good job with the bully pulpit. I think that he has a good understanding of the media. I think that he is able to utilize it how he sees fit. I think he's able to use the bully pulpit as well as, really any president that we've had. I think in my lifetime. All right. So that's not saying that I'm a President Trump fan, but what it is saying is that I think that this is a president that does a good job with the bully pulpit. All right, on to the bureaucracy. Wah, wah, wah. Not my favorite topic. All right. But the basics of the bureaucracy are this: it's huge, it's massive, it's got millions of people that work in the executive branch under the president. All right. So, from our mail people to those working at the Pentagon to those working on food and drug to the things that we see on movies in terms of spies and the CIA and those working to enforce federal laws and the FBI, all sorts of people. And these departments and agencies you see here, number one, are said to be in line with the president because the president can fire their leader. All right, president isn't happy with what's happening at the Pentagon. He can fire the Defense Department or Secretary of Defense. If our president is not happy with other agencies and departments, they can fire those people as well. So you can see that connection, that control, at least of the leadership, in those departments and those agencies. And that leads us to number two. That leads us to what we've talked about earlier in terms of our civil servants. So 99% of the people that work in these departments and agencies are civil servants. They are a part of that meritocracy where they gain those positions by their merits, by their abilities, by their schooling, by them passing a test, and then they earn tenure like a teacher that makes them very difficult to fire. So, yes, they care who the president is, but to a certain extent, a lot of these people cannot be. And we've seen President Trump try to work that civil service, and he's tried to shrink it and get rid of a number of these positions in his belief that our bureaucracy is too big for better or for worse, and try and get some of these people to retire, resign, move on from some of these positions. But you can see its difficult nature. All right, he can't just snap his finger and fire them like he can with the leadership. All right, there's an old movie of some people taking the civil service exam from Spies Like Us that I may or may not show the class. It's just kind of funny of watching those guys cheat on the civil service exam. All right, what does the bureaucracy do? So here I'm showing an example. I won't show you the video, but basically it's a video of Amazon Prime Air, excuse me. Years ago, Jeff Bezos and those at Amazon wanted to push the idea of utilizing drones to take packages to people's homes. All right, that was kind of thought to be the next step in the evolution of Amazon. And it ran into very quickly a lot of obstacles in this bureaucracy because you had a number of different groups. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, wants to know, where are they going to be? How are they going to be in relationships to helicopters and planes? The FBI was talking about safety of billions of dollars of interstate commerce, moving throughout state to state, city to city. So there was questions about the enforcement piece within the FBI of people potentially shooting these things down and stealing things. So it ran into so much in terms of bureaucracy and red tape and questions, rightful questions that they probably didn't even recognize when they floated this idea and wanted to do this. You've really kind of seen Amazon kind of give up on this issue to a certain extent, and move to other ways of delivering packages. All right. So what does the bureaucracy do? Enforce laws. Duh. Execute laws. Duh. But B is very interesting. There are some departments, there are some agencies, or some groups in the bureaucracy that Congress has given rule-making authority to. Huh? Who cares about rules? Well, these are in essence laws. So we've got the EPA, we've got, other parts of the bureaucracy that are in essence able to make their own laws. I know, that kind of executive branch making laws, making rules, but they have the same effect and force of law. Yes, there's a number of hoops and things that they have to jump through to make this happen, but at the end of the day, boom, there it is. Now, not all bureaucracy can do this. There's certain pieces of bureaucracy, there's certain places that can do this. But if you think about Congress, they don't know or they don't want to get into the weeds of all the different things that goes into environmental protection in terms of air and water and soil and all sorts of stuff that they basically said, hey, EPA, we're going to give you some authority here to create your own rules and laws that goes along with protecting our environment. And again, these things are subject to judicial review, and there's a process that they have to go through in order to happen. But there it is. To some extent, the executive branch can make laws. Ugh, iron triangles. I hate them. All right, so here we go. Iron triangles. Keep it simple. Just think of it as the bureaucracy, Congress, and interest groups working together where they all get what they want. So just kind of look at this chart, though I don't want you to memorize it. Just think and know that these are groups. This is a belief. This is a thought that sometimes bureaucracies and Congress and interest groups can work together to get what they want, kind of work in cahoots. You scratch my back, I scratch yours sort of mentality. Iron triangles. There'll be like one question in your test about it. Ugh, I hate it. Moving on. Issue networks. Again, keep it simple. Another theory is the belief that instead of them all working together, we've got groups that fight. If we look at tobacco, there's folks that support it. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. There's lots of farmers. There's lots of businesses and groups that make a lot of money off of this, and they want to support the ability that those are of age to be able to have the tobacco that they want to have in the ways that they want to have it. Then you've got doctors, you got other groups on the other side that are saying tobacco is terrible for you, cigarettes and juuling and all these sorts of things. And in the middle, you have the FDA, you've got Health and Human Services, you've got the Department of Agriculture that are trying to do their bidding in dealing with, yes, we've got tobacco, and yes, it's legal, and what rules and what laws should we have with this? And so issue networks would say it's a battle, it's a fight. And for my 2 cents worth, I think in certain industries and certain issues, I think issue networks probably do happen. And I think in probably other industries and other parts of our country with policies and things going on, there's probably some iron triangles going on as well. Done. End of story. Last slide, and this is important. How do we control this bureaucracy? All right, take a look at that oversight, budget control. Bring these people in, so says Congress. We oversee you and your budgets. We oversee you and your budgets, your millions, your billions of dollars. Department of Defense, FBI, CIA. We can bring you in at any time and ask you questions and embarrass you, or we can come in and applaud you and try to give you more money the next year. All right. Usually it's Congress bringing in parts of a department or an agency to slap them around and say, hey, what are you doing? And it allows for Congress to then, kind of get on the news and say, hey, here's what we're doing for the American people. Look at what these bureaucracies are doing, so on and so forth. President controlling the leadership. And then, as I've talked about, what check does controlling bureaucracy have with the judicial branch? Well, it is judicial review with these rules that are promulgated by these agencies to keep them in. We did it. End of 5.3, 5.4, and I guess if I have to make a 5.5, we did that too. So we are done, and I am back to the water. Woo! See you next time, everyone.